Hi, welcome back to my channel where we make beautiful things. This week's journaling is in the book of Psalms, chapter 46. I'm using a free devotional and principle from Camille of This Girl is Saved. I will put a link in the description of this video for her Instagram account where you will find a link in the bio for this principle and this devotional. I was just so touched and inspired by what she wrote that I wanted to journal this. So I started by mixing some acrylic paints until I had a palette of similar colors to what she used in the principle. I don't actually have a lot of acrylic paints, really just the basic primary colors, black, white, and one or two others. But if you have the primaries, you can pretty much mix any color you need from there. So once I was happy with the colors that I'd mixed, I knew I could just go ahead and start painting on the Bible. I'm using a Psalms ESV interleaved Bible here, where basically interleaved is every sort of second page is blank. And these pages are quite a lot thicker and firmer, so they really do allow you to use a lot of heavier products. So taking the paint, I'm going with a sort of abstract approach where I'm painting broad strokes and stripes, some twirls, adding different splotches, dots, stripes, even hearts and crosses. So it's really just a feel of color and movement on the page that I'm going for. And the nice thing about acrylics is that they dry quite fast. So, I usually start with my darker colors and then work towards my lighter colors and they really pop against the richer, darker colors. I really wanted to incorporate the actual printed devotional in my journaling so that I can go back and read it whenever I need to. So for that I decided to make a pocket envelope to stick into my Bible. I used a template that I drew up myself and then just traced it onto some scrapbooking cardstock and cut it out from there. This is actually the first time I've made something like this, and I was really quite pleased with how it turned out, as I really was just winging it. But used the template to measure where the folds should go, and I stuck the edges down. I used some double-edged tape and folded my envelope from there. Then I also decided to add some shading to the edges with Gelatos. So for that I just rub the Gelatos on my non-stick craft mat and then pick it up with a blending brush and start adding a distressed sort of smudgy look to the edges. This gives it a bit of a sort of vintagey look, using greys and black. The black along the edges just defines the edges and gives it a more finished look. I also covered the inside cover of the flat part of the envelope with Gelatos as well, mixing the greys and a mustardy color. But I'll list the colors of Gelatos that I used in the description of this video as well. When I was happy with the envelope, I then went ahead and I cut the devotional into strips and I stuck those strips onto some more scrapbooking cardstock. I also cut out the little prayer that comes with this printable because I want to put that inside the envelope. So the title of this devotional is Be Still, and I always find a stillness in the act of Bible journaling. While I'm creating and painting or drawing, I'm also just literally soaking myself in the words and verses that I'm journaling. For me, this is like my happy place, a place that calms and soothes me. Psalm 46 verse 1 tells us that God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. And it's as if this psalm was written for just this moment in time. With all the chaos and fear in the world around us right now, we can come to the book of Psalms and find a peace and comfort in the words written there. And I don't just mean a temporary or shallow peace, but I mean a true peace of God that covers us like a warm blanket. It's a peace that seeps into our souls and nestles there in our hearts, because God's word is just as alive and powerful today as it was when it was first written. So you'll see I went back to my color palette to just add some color and details to the flower on the one card. I've also used Gelatos to blend the edges and draw a border, so just to sort of tie it in with the distressed look that I created with the envelope. This whole piece, when it's done, is going to actually get tucked in behind the envelope. So the envelope will be like a dual purpose. It'll have the prayer on the inside and the devotional tucked behind it like a pocket. I just then take a punch and I punch a hole in the card and thread some ribbon through. I stapled that closed, so it kind of created like a tag with the prayer. I also stuck that on some cardstock. Did the same thing with the distressed edges and the border. I have these little printables from another kit that I did, and that has Isaiah 41 verse 10 written on it. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. And I just felt that's a perfect complement to the prayer. I punched a hole in the two little prayer cards, and then I joined them together using one of those scrapbooking doodad thingies, the one that looks like a pin with the split legs. And then, still using elements from this other kit, I started to make some sort of decorative elements for the envelope. I often find that when I have these printables or kits, I have a whole lot of extra little bits and pieces left over, and I always try and incorporate them when I'm doing journaling on another page, so that they don't just gather dust or become clutter. So I do like to use them as much as I can. I've got this little flower button and a die cut flower that just matched the color scheme, and I thought that would be really pretty. I stuck the button on with double-sided tape, and the flower I used foam, those little foam mounting squares that we use when we do scrapbooking. So that does create a little bit of bulk. I know not everybody likes that kind of bulk in their Bibles, so really it's personal preference. I don't mind having that extra bulk. But then I just use some double-sided tape and put that along the edges at the back of the envelope and use that to stick it down onto the Bible. So now I have my pocket and I can put all the pieces in together and start finishing off this page. I decided to finish it off with a tab cluster, so I take a tab from the kit and then again adding extra little bits from other kits and a piece of ribbon. I just staple it all together with the verse, the reminder that we're in Psalm 46, and use this to finish it off. You may have noticed that this video is labeled Be Still Part 1. Well, that's because there's actually two verses highlighted in this devotional. Psalm 46 verse 1 and Psalm 46 verse 10, which reminds us to be still and know that He is God. So watch out for part 2, where I journal that verse.